A day in the life of a forgiving king. The sun rose over the kingdom of Irene, its golden rays illuminating the bustling streets below the palace. Inside the grand hall, King Syncharesis sat by the window, watching his people begin their day. Known across the land as the Forgiving King, Syncharesis' reign was marked by a steadfast commitment to mercy, understanding, and reconciliation. Morning Reflections. King Syncharesis started every day in his private chamber, dedicating time to prayer and meditation. Kneeling before a simple altar, he whispered his daily plea, "Lord, grant me the grace to forgive as you have forgiven me." In this quiet time, he found strength for the challenges ahead. The king often reflected on the teachings of Scripture, such as the command to forgive 70 times 7, Matthew 18 verse 22. These reflections reminded him that forgiveness was not a weakness but the highest form of strength, requiring humility and love. The royal courtroom. The king's first task was to preside over disputes brought before the royal court. On this day, a merchant accused a young boy of stealing a loaf of bread. The boy, tearfully confessing his guilt, explained that hunger had driven him to theft. The courtroom was tense as all eyes turned to King Syncharesis. Rising from his throne, the king spoke firmly yet gently. "Stealing is wrong, but so is allowing hunger to push a child to desperation. Return the bread and work in the merchant's service to repay your debt. Merchant, see that this boy does not go hungry again. Let this act of forgiveness inspire change in both your lives." The boy bowed in gratitude, and the merchant, moved by the king's example, agreed. Forgiveness, Syncharesis believed, did not ignore wrongdoing but transformed it, offering healing and restoration. The royal gardens. Later in the afternoon, the king strolled through the palace gardens, often joined by those seeking guidance. That day, he was visited by Lady Orgelos, a noblewoman consumed by rage toward a rival family. She recounted years of perceived slights and betrayal. King Syncharesis listened patiently, then said, "Orgelos, anger is a burden that chains the soul. To forgive is not to condone the wrongs done to you, but to free yourself from their power. Forgiveness brings peace, not only to others but to your own heart." Lady Orgelos hesitated but promised to consider his words. The king often saw forgiveness as a seed, planted in the hearts of his people. It had the potential to grow into a culture of peace within the kingdom of Irene. An unexpected challenge. As the evening fell, Syncharesis faced a deeply personal trial. A former general who had betrayed him during a rebellion arrived at the palace, seeking pardon. The memory of the betrayal burned fresh, and the king felt the weight of anger stirring within. But as he looked into the general's eyes, broken and full of regret, Syncharesis was reminded of his morning prayer. Rising from his seat, he approached the man and said, "Your actions wounded me deeply, but holding on to that pain will only harm this kingdom further. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because forgiveness is the path to true peace. Go and live a life of honor." The general wept openly, overwhelmed by the king's mercy. For Syncharesis, this act of forgiveness was not easy, but it reaffirmed his commitment to his purpose as a ruler. Evening Reflections. As the day ended, King Syncharesis sat by the fireplace with his journal, recording his thoughts. Forgiveness is not a single act but a choice made daily. It is not for the faint of heart, yet it is the most freeing of all virtues. Today, I learned again that forgiveness is not only for the one who receives it but also for the one who gives it. He offered a final prayer, thanking God for the wisdom and grace to lead with compassion. His reign was not without challenges, but through each act of forgiveness, he saw his kingdom grow closer to its name, Irene, the land of peace. The legacy of forgiveness. King Syncharesis' life demonstrated the transformative power of forgiveness. His daily choices inspired his people to pursue reconciliation over revenge and understanding over hostility. In the end, his legacy was not in the battles he won or the laws he passed, but in the lives he touched and the peace he fostered. As the sun set over Irene, it marked another day where forgiveness triumphed and hope flourished under the reign of a truly merciful king.